Welcome to Warrior. Let's start this session by lying down. So come to your mats. We'll only be here for a few minutes, so no need to get excited with cushions and things. We can just come directly down. Have your knees bent, the feet towards the edges of the mat and the knees coming towards each other. We're going to take our hands and place them just above the navel onto the abdomen and lengthen the neck. Softly close the eyes, soften the mouth, release the forehead. Release those shoulders down into the ground. The small of the back, the hips. Release the thigh muscles, the calf muscles, the upper arms, the forearms, the belly. And just for the next couple of minutes, tuning in with our breath. Discovering where the breath is at this moment. A sense of the speed, of the depth, of the tone and texture. Perhaps also tuning into the heartbeat. Zoning out of the sounds around you and coming to that inner landscape, coming inside. And then gradually just draw those feet in towards the centre. Bring a knee onto the chest and then the other. And just take the knees around in a circle. So bring them together in a circle. And then we'll go the other way. Come to stillness with the back. Place the left foot onto the floor. Draw that right knee towards the chest so we can take hold behind the thigh or onto the shin. And then stretch that left leg out so we get a deeper stretch into the hip flexors. Take that right knee out to the right. And then bring it in. Let's do that then rapidly. Let's take it out to the side and back in. And then we'll stretch that leg up towards the sky. Bring the knee back towards the chest and do that a couple of times. Just warming that those hamstrings up a little bit. And then we'll bring the foot to the ground and extend it along the mat. Bring the left knee in, hold it for a second or two in towards the chest, holding back of thigh or onto the shin. And we can flex that right foot so the right leg is active. Now we'll take the left knee out to the left and hold it there for a couple of breaths. And then bring it in. And then we'll actively take it out to the side, back into the centre. A couple more times. Bring it back to centre, then stretch up. And bring the knee down. Stretch up. Bring the knee down. Again, stretch up. Bring the knee down, stretch the leg along the mat. Then draw both legs in. Bring them in towards the chest. We're going to do a twist from here. If you find that's a bit strong for your back at this point, you're not warmed up enough. In fact, what we'll actually do is we'll just wag the knees from side to side, but then I'll come back to what I was just saying. So this is quite a strong twist with the knees onto the chest. So if you find that's not right for you today, bring the feet to the ground and do a twist from there instead. I just reminded myself that our backs weren't warmed up enough to go for a deep twist, so they should be now. So let's go for it. Let's take those knees over to the right. We can take the arms out to allow space, and we'll hold them there for a few moments. Relax the face, the forehead. And then with an inhale, we'll draw in the navel, bring those knees up to centre, and then we'll exhale to the other side. And then we'll use an inhale, come up to centre. Just draw some circles with the toes. Circle one way and then back the other way. Just having a little look at my notes. Jolly good. And then we can bring those feet to stillness. Okay. We're going to then we're going to come to a happy baby pose. So we're taking the knees towards the armpits, the soles of the feet towards the sky, and either holding onto the backs of the thighs, or you're taking the hands between the legs onto the soles of the feet and drawing those knees gently down. The back of the neck is long, the shoulders relaxed onto the ground, the face is soft. We can have a little rock from side to side if you feel like it. If you're doing that, just be careful that you don't go too far. Don't want you toppling over and hurting yourself onto anything. And then from here, we can just take hold of the ankles or the outside of the feet and bring the soles of the feet together. Wrap the hands around the feet and bring those shoulders and neck back down to the ground. If that's not accessible to you, you could bring the feet down to the ground and have this same position. Okay, and then we'll release. Bring the feet to the ground. And just nestle those shoulders down, nestle the back down. A little moment to realign the neck. And then we're going to bring the knees back up towards the chest, cross the ankles. So you'll have gone one particular way, so then go the other way. And then take the hands onto those feet and we're going to rock and roll. This is really lovely for warming the spine, getting a bit of circulation going. And then we're up. Okay, so if you have socks on, now is a good time to pop your socks off. And have a little hydrate before we go on to the next part of our warm-up. Doing a few things from the knees now, so if you need padding underneath the knees, make sure you have it there. We're going to start off in child's pose. So coming down to a child's pose, knees together or apart, doesn't matter. Arms stretched out or down by the sides, or one potato, two potato underneath the forehead. So take a couple of breaths there. Now with the next inhalation, lift up onto all fours. Bring those knees parallel underneath the hips, navel in and the neck long. Okay, and then we'll take an inhalation and open the chest, dipping the tummy down, shoulders back, looking straight ahead. Breath out, drawing in through the navel, arching the spine, and the head dips down. This time, as we breathe in, we're going to swoop forwards gently, bringing the hips to the ground, the chin slightly tucked in, the hands are just in front of the shoulders, the elbows tucked in. And then your next inhale, we're lifting up, keeping the gaze down, the chin down, and then the gaze can go straight ahead. So hold this for a breath or two. This lovely cobra. Your elbows are soft as well, by the way. And then we're going to take ourselves all the way back into a child's pose. Next inhale, lift up. Go straight into an upward cat this time. And then into a down face cat. And then we swoop forward straight into a cobra. Keep that chin tucked in as you arrange yourself, and then lift the gaze. And then exhale, we come back to a child's pose. Let's do that one more time then. So we're inhaling to an upward cat. Some people call it a cow. I call it an upward cat. Exhaling to a downward cat. Inhaling to a cobra. Exhaling as we come back to that child's pose. This time, as we inhale, we're going to come up onto all fours and step the right foot through. Feel into that stretch. So if you're hypermobile, don't stretch as much as I'm doing. You come a little bit further back, so you're building more strength up. You've already got the stretch, you don't need it. You need to build the strength. However, some of us need the stretch. Those with the very tight muscles need the stretch. And then we're going to all walk backwards and stretch that leg out, and then come forward again. And do that again. And then forward. And then we'll take a breath in. Just come on, you might want to come onto your flexed toes with the back foot. We're going to lift up. It gives you a bit more stability coming onto the flexed toes. Palm to palm if you can, and a little back bend, just gently looking up. Hold that for a couple of breaths. Now that front foot, just release the toes so you're not clinging onto the earth. Find a lightness into the arch of the foot. The next exhale, release the hands down. Bring the left hand down and twist around to the right. So the hand comes to the waist or extending up. And hold it for a breath or so. Exhale, bring that hand back down. And then we're going to slide the foot back, coming into a downward dog. So belly button in, neck nice and long. Let's have a little mooch on the spot, raising one heel and then the other. And raise up onto tiptoes and bring those heels back down to the ground. Now we're going to step the left foot through. Bring that right knee down. So again, we're just finding the right position for our body type today as we have arrived at our practice today. And then we'll just have a little mooch backwards and forwards as we get into those hamstrings a little bit, and then into the hip flexors. Again, you may be able to hear quite a lot of snoring. Obviously, it's not me. I've got the door open behind me and there's a doggy fast asleep. There's also a young doggy who's not fast asleep around somewhere. So goodness knows what will happen. And then we're going to use an inhalation and lift up. So we're lifting the whole body up, palm to palm, open the chest, looking gently up towards the sky and holding that for a couple of breaths. We're making sure that we're not clinging onto the ground. And then with an exhale, come down, bring the right hand down, twist around to the left this time. Always soften the face. Nice smooth breath. Bring that hand down. Slide the foot back. We're coming back to downward dog. And then with an inhale, we're stepping or jumping through. So the feet come towards the hands. If you're jumping, it's not a thump, it's nice and light. And then up into a forward fold. So the feet are just a couple of inches apart and they're parallel to each other. So make sure your toes are not going out to the sides, your knees are bent. With an inhale, we'll lift up to halfway. With an exhale, we'll come back down to the ground. Place the hands on the ground. Step or jump back into a plank. Lower down to the ground and then come up to a cobra. Keep that chin tucked in, remember. And then lift the chin up into a downward dog. Navel engages as you lift there. A little pause. Now with an inhale, we're going to raise the right leg, point the toes and bend the knee. Exhale, we're going to bring the knee through and take it towards the armpit and then drop the head down. And do that a couple more times. This time inhale, take the leg straight up with a flexed foot and then bring it through. Place it down, place the back foot down, take a deep breath, push through the feet and lift up into warrior one. So shoulders down, chest open. Spread your fingers. Might be out of shot a little actually. Apologies. Bring myself a little further over. Spread your fingers and then exhaling, we're going to inhale, then exhale, sink down into warrior two. So move the feet as you need to do so. We cheekily check this knee, make sure it's not falling in, that it's not going over the ankle. Take the gaze down the middle finger of the right hand. Use an inhale to drop the back hand, lift the front hand. Gaze upwards. And as you exhale, bring the forearm to the thigh, or you can bring the hand to the ground. Or if you know that you have the flexion, you can wrap the hands around. So one hand goes underneath, one hand goes behind and they join. But you can have one hand on the ground. We'll keep that forearm on the thigh. Now inhale, push to the feet. Lift that upper body, bring your shoulders around, take the weight to the front foot, and we're going to take the hands that are just behind or just by the hips and then fold forward. Keep those left toes on the floor if balancing is not for you at this moment. Drishti point, feeling into the ground underneath that standing foot. And then this back foot's going to come to the ground, both hands to the ground, come back to a plank. Lower down to the ground. Lift up, cobra. Tuck the toes under, come up into down dog. Pause for a moment. Now, next inhalation, let's raise that left leg, bend the knee, point the toes. Exhale, bring it towards the armpit, duck the face down. 2 more times. This time stretch the leg and then bring it through. Plant the foot down, lift up into a warrior one. Stay as you are. I'm just going to change direction so I don't have my back to you. Always settling down, checking the shoulders, the knee, the connection between the soles of the feet and the ground. And then we'll open up into a warrior two. Move the feet as appropriate. And in our other classes we've talked about plugging the feet into the ground this week. So imagine a 3-pin plug plugging into a socket. That's how your feet are with the ground. Now breath in, lift that left hand up. Breath out, the side angle pose. Remember the choices. Arm to the thigh or hand to the ground, where you can wrap around the back. Find one of those choices that suits you. And then we'll use a breath in to lift up. Going to come to that balance, the warrior three balance, but with the hands down by the sides, if that's okay for you. Those right toes can remain on the ground, of course. Tuck your navel in, keep the shoulders down. Don't grip onto the ground with the big toes, or the rest of the toes even, I should say with the toes in general. And you're aiming to have a straight line like a T shape, but this knee, the standing leg is soft. And bring the foot down behind you. Bring the hands down, come down to a plank. And then down to the ground. Tuck the chin in, to lift up, into a cobra, tuck the toes under, lift up into a downward dog. Pause there for a moment. Then your next in breath, bend the knees and spring forward, or you're stepping forward. Forward fold. Bend the knees, take a next breath in and lever yourself up. Stretch up towards the sky and bring the hands down through the heart centre. And we'll take a breath. A chance just to come to Tadasana, to plug back in, to reground, and to maybe have a drink if you need one. Okay, then we'll come back to the short edge of the mat. Come to Tadasana. Now next breath in, we're going to lift up towards the sky. Breath out, come down to the ground. Soften the knees, please. Breath in, come to tabletop. Breath out, come down. Breath in, step or jump back into a plank. And breath out, lower down. Breath in, lift up into a cobra. Breath out into a downward dog. Pause. Belly in, neck long, knees as soft as you need them to be. Breath deep, regular, steady. Next breath in, then raise that right leg, keep the leg taut, the hips stable, push through the heel. And then we're going to, I've just forgotten what we're going to do. Then we're going to bring that right knee through to the right hand. I am only human. And we're going to come to a pigeon pose. So the right foot's come under the left hip. If you're doing warrior, I'm presuming that your knees are okay. If they're not, then you need to lie on your back and do this, bringing the knee in towards the chest. So we can have a little back bend there with the hands on the ground, or even have come onto TP fingers. Tall in the neck. And then we're going to surrender to the ground. So we're going to stretch that left leg back as we soften down. You could bring the chin to the cupped hands if you like, or you could bring the face all the way down. And pause. Now we're going to gently lift up with the breath. So come onto the hands. Bring that right foot underneath the right hip. Bring the right hand in front of you. And we're going to, you have a little bit of jiggery pokery, and then we can lift that left leg up and lift that left arm up. I can't even look at the camera because I'll fall over. So flex that left foot, steady. I've got my wrist at this angle because it suits my funny wrist, but you might want your hand in a different place. That's resting hand. Then bring that left hand down. We're going to come to a plank. And then from plank we're lowering down, coming to cobra, and up into downward dog. Just resting in down dog for a moment. Navel, neck, face, breath, knees. Now raise that left leg up, keep that leg in line with, keep the hips in line rather, leg is active. Then bring the left knee through. The left foot comes under that right hip, the caution for knees, as I said before. Then a little back bend first of all. So we're upright, maybe coming onto those fingertips perhaps. And then we can extend that right leg out and soften down to the ground if we wish to. Remember to come to teenage pose if you want to. That's chin into cupped hands. So I haven't changed direction, so I'm going to have my back to you, apologise. Let's come up. Bring the foot underneath the thigh, so it's not underneath the opposite thigh now. A little bit of rearranging yourself so that you can bring that right foot up and then the right arm comes up and the right foot is flexed. Now we can bring that hand down, bring the other foot down, come back to a plank pose. How are we doing? It's all complicated this week. I shouldn't have made it complicated, should I? Let's come down and back up into cobra. Tuck the toes and lift up the hips. And then we're going to take a breath in and jump through. Forward fold. And then just lift up all the way up. Stretch, open up. Bring the hands to prayer and then down to the chest, the heart centre. And then we can release them down by the sides. Okay, and come to the centre of your mat. And just find yourself there. So I made this up earlier. Let's see how we go. I might have to change it. I might have to put some pause and change it halfway through. So we're going to take the weight down through the right foot. Shall I try a mirror? I'll try a mirror. I'm going to take the left toes out. So the left toes can come to the floor, or you can raise that left foot up and just take that right arm out. So we're nice and graceful. And bring that knee in. And then take that leg out behind you, like just as we did before with the warrior. Step a bit further forward. Hope I haven't got a gappy top on. And then bring that knee up. We're going to come down to the ground. So bend that right knee to come down to the ground and stretch the left leg, come onto the left heel. The left toes are up towards the sky. Just pause for a moment. And bring that left foot in. Come to a squat. Maybe you can bring your heels to the ground. Take a deep breath in and lift up. All the way up to standing. Take the weight into the left foot. Take the right toes out in front, the left arm behind. Bring that knee in. And then take it out behind you. Sorry, don't look at me, I'm wobbling. And then come back up. I'm going to bend the left knee and take the right foot out. Take your time to come to that. Stretch there through that inner thigh. It's lovely. Slide the foot in. Come down onto the heels into this squat pose. Oh, I'll tell you what's good about a squat. Have a drink whilst you're there. And from the squat, we're going to lower our bottoms down to the ground. And just bring the feet to the ground so that your knees are bent. We're going to come to a boat pose. So, I always want to say boat, like Julie Walter says it in Mamma Mia. I'm going to take the legs out. If you need to have you've got a boat, you know. You can have the knees bent if you want to do so. You're nice and tall in the back and engage into the navel. The neck is long and the face is soft. Now, if at any time this becomes too strong, you can just bring the fingertips to the ground behind you and have those knees bent, okay? Or even come out of it. I'm going to do a little twist around. So I'm going to twist around to the right. And come back to centre. Raise the arms up by the ears. Come back to centre. Twist around to the left. Come back to centre. Raise the arms up. Come back to centre. Now either have a rest or bring the feet in. Take hold of the big toes with the fingers. Stretch the legs out wide. Be with breath. And then bring those feet together, sole to sole, in front of you, onto the ground. Take the hands around those toes and lean forward. Relax the shoulders, the back. And then gently lift yourself up. Spin yourself around. Come down to your mat. You may not have had to spin yourself around, of course. Come down to your mat. Your knees are bent. Your back on the floor, your shoulders on the floor. Draw that right knee towards you. Bring it into the body. Stretch that left leg away flex the foot. Take that right knee out to the right and then bring it back to the centre. I'll do that a couple of times. Stretch the leg up towards the sky. Bring the knee in. And then this time we're going to lower the leg down to the ground. Bring the sole of the left foot onto the right knee, hand onto the left thigh, and take that knee over to the right. The left knee goes over to the right, shoulders are on the ground. And hold it there. Use an inhale, lift back up to centre. And so the left knee finds itself being drawn in towards the body. Hold it there for a moment, flex the right foot. And then take the knee out to the side and back in. Out to the side and back in. And if you've got your hand on the knee, then we're also just easing out the shoulder as well. And lift up and in, up and in, and then up and lower down to the ground. The left leg then stays outstretched. We bring the sole of the right foot onto the left knee, left hand onto the right thigh, ease that knee over to the left, the shoulders are on the ground with the breath. And use an inhale, come back up to centre. Place both feet onto the ground, then have the knees bent. Bring your hands in front of you, make L shapes with the hands and bring the base of the L into the inside of the opposite elbow and then on the other side as well. So you folded your arms in this way that keeps your elbows in line with the shoulders. And use an inhale and take those arms overhead. You don't have to take them all the way over. If that's uncomfortable, just take them to a place that's good for you and then bring them back down. And once again. And down. And then we can free the hands and take them the other way. So you're taking them the comfortable way the first time. This is the uncomfortable way. The awkward way. And then we can release the arms, just gently roll the head from one side to the other a couple of times. Bring the head up to centre. And then take the feet towards the edges of the mat, knees together, bring the hands onto the body and gently shut the eyes. If you do need to just pop a blanket over you, then do, but we're only here for about 3 or 4 minutes in this session. So just bring your awareness to your breath. Let the breath relax the forehead, relax the eyes, the jaw, space between the back teeth, the tongue resting gently behind the top teeth. The lips are soft, the neck is long. Just let those shoulders settle down. Find the space between the shoulder blades. Release the muscles of the upper arms, the forearms. Soft into the fingers and into the palms of the hands. Nestle the lower back down. Release the belly. Soften the hips. Release the thigh muscles, the calf muscles. Gentle into the soles of the feet, gentle into the toes. Just be with the waves of the breath. Let them wash over you, the inhale and the exhale a few times. Just gently easing out tension. We've worked hard today in a slightly different way. Just allow there to be that release. Now stay as you are if you wish to, or we can bring the knees back to upright and then draw them one at a time towards the chest. Ease out the lower back gently, maybe have a little twiddle of the toes, the ankles. And then we're going to roll over onto one side. Gently open the eyes there. And then we'll lift up. Om Shanti.